Yeah. So, World Health Organization has so far eradicated, many diseases and disease conditions like polio, malaria, cholera, Ebola virus, SARS virus, and even filariasis, mumps, measles, and they are conducting so many, smoking cessation programs. And recently, you might have gone through very good example like the corona virus, where it got outbreak from epidemic, pandemic, and corona COVID season. You might have very good example how WHO has taken action, and they have started vaccination programs, and somehow it tried to control all of a sudden. And so that's how the WHO organizations, its vision, mission are totally about the international public health. And what happened after 1948? So there was an another organization, we can say it's a non-profitable organization and non-governmental organization which formed in 1949, so which is called SIAMS. It's a non-governmental and non-profitable, you can say a working group, or a committee or a group which formed in 1949 by WHO and UNESCO, and which they formed to enhance the WHO programs, and to get into the next level. So to understand SIAMs, why I'm again giving some past to understand about SIAMs, because this is the term where we are coming across in our PV often. What is SIAMs? It's a kind of a council for international organizations of medical sciences. So whenever you hear this terminology like SIAMs, it first it should come to your mind that SIAMs is a working group. There is a group of people, as we have in school, colleges, or in our company working places, where we have some kind of group, a team, which we focus on a particular activity. So same kind of SIAMS is a working group, and where they have wanted to focus on about around the pharmacovigilance, around the drug safety, the world. And they are so many working groups formed from, I could say, from 1986 onwards. They started forming various groups in order to enhance the PV system. And so currently there are so many working groups are available in 2022. This is, anyways, it's in November. So around currently I could able to get around 14 working groups are existing. So how to remember these working groups and how to understand these working groups? It's just a synopsis, or just a basic yeah, formula. What I use personally is SIAM's working group 1. Let me put down all the 14 work groups, then I will able to provide you uh, some detail about it. 3, 4. So like this, there are working groups, 14 working groups currently. Earlier it was around 10 working groups officially. Now there were many working groups got joined and established. And the first working group, each working group may contain around a minimum of 10 members who would like to focus on each and every field or area, I can say. So always the working group 1 would focus on you know on, I can say, ICSR, like how a individual safety report to be reported, what are all the field should be presented in each and every form, what is the limitations, what is the extra information need to be added. So all these informations are controlled by the SIAMS 1 working group. So that's why whenever you see any form, they will use the terminology as SIAMS 1 form. So that's how this terminology came into picture. and it talks about the international standard of individual case reporting system. So these forms, like 250 fields should be there in each and every form, 80 fields should be there, and whatever there is a addition deletion, it's being controlled by the SIAMS 1 working group. And SIAMS 2 working group, usually they will control on, they will take care of periodic reports. And SIAMS 3, they focus, and they will focus on reference safety information like labeling part, and each and every product, and what are all the minimum information should be there, like example CCDS, company core safety information, or any other local labels like SMPC, monograph, or whatever it may be. And here these international SIAMs forms set some basic information to be there in their reference safety information. That's how the all other labeling system, marketing authorization would uh, provide a boundary, and they will create those regulatory documents. And SIAMs 4, usually they will focus on here they will focus on benefit risk analysis, usually the signal evaluation, usually they will give some more uh, focus how to perform a signal evaluation. And SIAMS 5, always it's a kind of current challenges of pharmacovigilance. You might have seen a separate guideline like current challenges, pragmatic challenges in PV. So these would be always wanted to uncover the gray area in the PV field. And again, if you can go, SIAM 6 will talk about CT, what is the minimum criteria, how to collect a safety report, how the patients to be enrolled, and what are all the do's, don'ts, and everything about the clinical trial. SIAM's working group 6 would control on it. And SIAM's working group 7 will focus on you know DSUR, will focus on DSUR. And SIAM's 8 would focus on again signal detection. And SIAM's 9 would focus on risk minimization. And SIAM's 10, which is focusing on meta-analysis. So usually these many working groups were existing earlier, and there were so many new working groups got created, like SIAM's 11. So this working group will involve on patient involvement. Nowadays you could able to see so many patients, often the regulatory authorities connecting with them to know about the real time real evidence data, and their feedback. Based on that, even the clinical trial setup, or patient based patient targeted, disease targeted clinical trials and the guidelines are being created. They are giving more importance to involve the patient themselves, to give their feedback, and to add more values to the drug, and as well as to the society. So patient involvement, there is a new group where they have formed. And again, the benefit risk evaluation, again here they will focus on benefit risk evaluation and benefit risk analysis on the marketed products. There is an additional team where they are working on same, like here I would have said here SIAM's working group 4, they will focus more on signal part, but here they overall they will look after all the benefit risk evaluation about that particular marketed medications, we can say. And SIAM's working group 13, I could say real world scenarios, real world evidences. We can to the point, like real world evidences, and based on that, uh, you know, updating or revising guidelines, or revoking or changing. So all these things would happen by the SIAM's working group 13. And here there is a interesting SIAM's working group 14. They are focusing on AI, artificial intelligence. Like this, there are existing SIAM's working group. They are actively day and night. They are focusing on about that world health, patient safety, world health, you know patient oriented activities these working groups are performing. And there are some ungrouped means unsiam like working group. There are some working group like they are focusing on smq, you can say, and they are focusing on medra related, the coding related team there is. And there is a team dedicated working for daily like drug induced liver injury. So like this, some of the focus or some teams are working, some teams dedicatedly they are focusing on vaccines. So like this in siams there are working groups. The take home message, I do not wanted to confuse you, and just I wanted to talk about an international pv regulation. There is a exist of siams working group, and these are all the varieties of siams working group are working on. And just yeah, many times I used to get a question like how to remember all these things, and it would be very difficult to remember. So just I'm giving some hint which I follow. I may not, if it works for you, you can you know you can try that. And here always I divide this in this way, so that it would be easy for me uh, to remember. And like this, so many segments I have divided. So the first segment here, I would like to focus like like ICSR and periodic reports. And there is a continuation whenever there is a reference safety information, obviously there is a benefit risk that will be talking about. And there are some challenges whatever it is there, so they need to be grouped together. So RSI means CCDS example and benefit risk, which is talking about, and there are some challenges. And here again CT, clinical trial followed by DSUR again. They wanted to focus about signal detection, here signal evaluation. So signal detection as well as risk minimization. So when there is a signal, again there should be a risk should follow, so risk minimization should follow. And risk minimization, and there is a meta-analysis. So I would like to group here together. So 1, 2, 3, okay. And these are all new, whatever I have mentioned so far. So I would like to group together as 4. Like this into 4 you can keep it in mind, so that it is just to trigger you, or it will just give some trick to easily to understand whenever you are talking to your client, whenever you are talking to your peer, and whenever there is some SOP or local working instruction, whenever you are reading at your desk. So if they are talking about internal references, external references, if they would have mentioned about siams 9, and easily you could able to correlate, okay, this particular SOP or whatever system um, standard operating procedure is focusing about siams 9 working group, whatever they have ordered about risk minimization. Whenever you are talking about RMP guidelines or SOPs, whatever your internal procedures. So that's how these siams you could able to remember. Hope this is giving some clarity. And in addition, one more important point what I would like to talk about is um, there is another activity which has been made by WHO. So I would like to add it here. That is in 1978 there is a formation of UMC. Again, this is a non-governmentable, non-profitable Uppsala Monitoring Committee. There is a committee is formed in Uppsala. This is in Sweden. Hope everyone might have aware. So Uppsala Monitoring Committee is international drug monitoring. That's what you might have heard often. So international about international drug monitoring committee, which is which is presented in Sweden. And this Uppsala monitoring plays a very important role, which focus on international drug monitoring, where you might have aware of they have created VG-base international database, and they have focused on VG flow. They wanted to know about how the case management. They wanted to give some guideline about each country how the case can be managed in a systematic manner. So like that they are talking about some VG flow, and you might have heard the term like WHO DD, means World Health Organization Drug Dictionary, and WHO ART means World Health Organization, some adverse event terminology coding. So these things were established by this WHO, sorry, UMC, and which gives some basic fundamental information about how the database should be, how the flow should be in each and every country and each and every case being routed, and how the drug dictionary should be, what is the basic fundamental thing that should be covered, and how the adverse event terminology to be coded. So like this, some of the hint what the international guidelines are providing. So this is very important. So what I would like to convey here, this 10 or 15 minutes video is the take home message is, if you see the entire picture, it may look like a ant, or it may look like a honeybee. Okay, so it's a head and stomach, and there is feathers or whatever it may be. It's look like an ant or honeybee or whatever the picture you are imagine of. So if you understand a small ant or honeybee, you could able to correlate a entire pharmacovigilance international guideline in a single go. So there is a WHO formed, and post that there is a SIAMS working group since 1986. It's formed. They formed a means different working groups, and each working group is focusing on something. And after that, there is a Uppsala monitoring committee formed, and which is focusing on international drug monitoring. So this is I wanted to cover in this chapter about that international guideline of PV. Then in the next section, I would like to cover about from international. Just I wanted to go bit downgraded, and I wanted to focus on the other country regulations. Thank you.